Get your dirty government hands off my government-issued Medicare. A new poll asking U.S. citizens if they would rather reduce the deficit by paying more in taxes or by cutting funds for programs from which they directly benefit. 62% of respondents say cut my programs, to only 29% who say raise my taxes. 55% calling cuts to important services necessary, but despite the theoretical willingness to sacrifice when it comes to the government services people are willing to slash, there are two areas that remain untouchable: Medicare and Social Security. In our fourth story tonight, what those poll numbers mean for President Obama's State of the Union address and for the future of the Democratic platform. A poll conducted by the New York Times and CBS News shows an overwhelming reaction against the idea of cuts to Medicare and Social Security. In fact, respondents would rather cut military spending, and by a huge number, than either social program, and by a margin of almost 2 to 1. Americans are also strictly opposed to raising the retirement age to help offset spending. Benefit cuts and a higher retirement age were both recommended by the President's Deficit Commission, and we know that what they had a deficit of. It was led by Republican Alan Simpson and Democrat Erskine Bowles. When presented with those recommendations, the President said all options are on the table, but before he delivers his State of the Union next Tuesday, he might want to listen to this guy.
And when you look at how we should approach Social Security, I believe that cutting benefits is not the right answer. I meet too many seniors all across the country who are struggling with the limited Social Security benefits that they have. That raising the retirement age is not the best option.
Putting those limits or off-limits options back on the table has contributed to an erosion of the public's trust when it comes to Democrats and Social Security. A November 2010 poll found that Americans then trusted Republicans, the party that tried to dismantle security only 6 years ago, more than Democrats when it came to Social Security. First time that had happened since the program became a defining issue for the Democratic Party in 1930. The loss of that support has prompted liberal lawmakers and advocates to push back. Today, the Congressional Progressive Caucus, led by Congressman Raul Grijalva and Keith Ellison, issued a letter to the president saying, quote, "We urge you to send a clear message in your State of the Union address, hands off Social Security." The Progressive Change Campaign Committee also today releasing a new ad they plan to air in Senator Lindsey Graham's home state of South Carolina, proving they will go to bat against politicians who threaten Social Security benefits.
I work at a local library here in Charleston. I love my job, but I'm in pain every day at work. I have a torn rotator cuff from carrying books. My hands have been numb at work. There are times when people come up with stacks of books, and I want to cry. At 59, I'm just trying to make it until I can retire at 62. Now, Senator Lindsey Graham says he wants to raise the Social Security retirement age. Senator Graham, people like me just won't make it.
Joining us now, Jonathan Alter, National Affairs Correspondent for Newsweek, and, of course, MSNBC political analyst. Hello, John.
Hey, Keith.
Good to see you. Are these groups, as the ones in behind that ad against Graham, are they trying to show the president they will have his back if he stands up in defense of Social Security and Medicare?
No, I think they're trying to show him that they won't have his back if he doesn't. It's a not so veiled threat from the
Either one
left.
works, though, right?
Well, it works to a certain extent. Look, he is going to speak out strongly for Social Security. Remember how well it worked for Bill Clinton to say save Social Security first? He'll speak out strongly against privatizing. He will make everybody think in that speech that he has, nothing at all critical to say about the Social Security program. But he will also indicate, as he said when the commission report came out, that all options are on the table. Why does he have to say that? Because you can't get from here to there in terms of getting control of our fiscal future without dealing with entitlements. And you can't deal with the entitlement problem in general, not just talking about Social Security, but all entitlement programs, if you start saying, well, we're not even going to talk about this, or this. So it doesn't really make any sense to say take off the table the idea of raising the retirement age in 2040 or 2050 when Social Security will be 100 years old. And there are an awful lot of people who actually are healthier if they retire a little bit later, contrary to that woman in the ad, which by the way, that ad, I mean, she made it seem as if Lindsey Graham wanted to take away her Social Security. But they're talking about way in the out years.
Except the statistics are clear that the age length, longevity is going up significantly only for the upper 50% of income earners.
Right.
And for the lower end of lower 50%, it's been like an improvement of 2 years over the last 50 years. So that added retirement age isn't going to do bupkis for people who aren't making a lot of money in 2040.
Actually, I don't want to quibble on the statistics, but I think the numbers are a little bit better than that. But clearly I don't want you to think that I'm for raising the retirement age right now. But
why do you want to kill Grandma when she's now only 19 years old?
This is the problem with the debate, Keith, is that, to say that to take things off the table for people who haven't even been born yet. I studied Franklin Roosevelt, as you know, and what Roosevelt considered to be bedrock was what Bush tried to destroy: guaranteed return. The idea of privatizing is appalling.
Right.
And you can expect the president, as well he should, to come out against putting yourself at the fate of the stock market. But the idea of working around the margins of the various complexities of Social Security, it's not set in amber. There's all sorts of other ways that they can, beyond the retirement age, that they can solidify the system. And so you don't want to tell them that they can't deal with it in any fashion at all. That's not particularly.
But you heard those numbers. I had them exactly in the opening of the show, and now it's here in my files somewhere. 55%, given a choice of one thing to cut, 55% said the military.
I know.
And then the number for Medicare, I guess, was 21, and Social Security was about 15 or something. That's a lot, and that implies there are Republicans and Democrats and young people and old people, and it's more than the others combined. Why is there not? Does this president have the guts to talk about cutting the military?
It's a great question, and Gates has cut the F-22. But he has not cut nearly deeply enough in the military budget. And it is a real test of Obama. How far to the center is he going to move? Is he going to get to a point where he's pandering on military spending? I think he wants to cut everywhere. And he feels like, given the deficit picture, not in the short term, but in the medium and long term, he has to cut virtually everywhere. But he's going to let the Republicans make their suggestions. So I think you'll hear him say, as he said before, I'm open to all your suggestions. I'll listen to what you have to say. That way they make the politically unpopular proposals, and he gets to stay above the fray. So you're not going to see him go out there and put his neck out and say, we're going to cut Social Security. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, well, the Republicans are not going to lead on the military cut anyway, in any event. Jonathan Alter of Newsweek and MSNBC. Great, thanks. Pleasure.
Yeah, thanks Keith.
John. Congresswoman Giffords moved today from the hospital she's been in since she was shot 2 weeks ago tomorrow to one of the finest head trauma rehab centers in the world. The new doctors are stunned. They say her ability to respond puts her in the top 5% of brain gunshot victims. How much better can she get, and how quickly?